It's your boy Zappa, professional stage ninja, and welcome to another episode of Zappa, me versus the shelf over there. It's a large shelf. Today's selected character is from Reconquista in G, the Gundam G-Arcane. I got this because it was the first in that series' line that actually caught my attention. I like kits with gimmicks. And this gimmick is it transforms. Also, it's got a pretty neat set of artillery, as you can kind of see on the corner of the screen there. It's still there, whatever. So, the Gundam G-Arcane was produced in the year 2014, many moons before we were getting dual language manuals. And this kit itself includes, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 runners. Well, I guess 8 runners and 2 with effect parts, which are the ones down in the bottom. 1 set of stickers, which are more just kind of like little details here. There are no big color apps on this one. And then, of course, I never need to mention polycaps. The kit transforms, which we will... You know what? Because this is Mark II, I'm going to go ahead and put the transformation over here in the corner. And that will begin in alignment with the closer end of the review. So, to speak of articulation, first and foremost, you get a little bit more than 90 degrees on the arm raise, but you get full rotation. You get a pretty hearty bend there at the elbow. It's a little more than 90 degrees again. You get a full bicep swivel. And what is unusual here is that you don't get full movement of the fist. The turn is kind of blocked. See, this is where it hits resistance right here. It is blocked by this cuff, but this cuff has its own amount of turn to it as well. So, let's see, that plus that, you'll get a full turn over with it. Oh, pop that hand out. That hand can stay out for now, though. That's fine. The kit also has one of my favorite things in the world. Non-standard color polycaps. I just love it when they're not gray or black. It fills my heart with such glee. At the waist here, you get a little bit of back and forth, but your backpack, the skirt and the backpack bit itself, really kind of grind on one another, so you don't get a whole lot of turn there. Your side skirts don't get a whole lot of flap going on there either, nor does your front skirt. And I don't believe this front skirt was designed to be separated. Even if it was, I'm personally not going to do that on this one because its transformation gimmick leaves it with only the waist part, and I don't want those falling out. At the legs, you get the pretty high kick upwards, followed by not a single, but a double jointed knee. Oh, that was actually kind of high up there. A double jointed knee with a high kick. You get a toe bend, always neat. The foot rotates on its side there, and then the rest of the foot, the other part of the foot has an up and down with a little bit of wiggle in the ankle armor. And the head, you get a full poltergeist spin there, some good down look, and the most up look I've ever seen in a high grade, because that works in tandem with the transformation gimmick itself. It's very neat. So, of course, you get a little bit of movement in the butt flap, and there's these extra wings that I need to collapse back in there. This piece also folds out, that folds in, but you'll see all that over here in the transformation whenever that begins. As for accessorize, you get a second pair of hands, which, curiously enough, don't have a back plate, but rather have this gap. wherein the closed fist has no gap. And I don't understand this design choice, Bandai. What you doing? It also comes with the waist replacement for your transformation. You'll see all of that up here. One big old anti-ship beam rifle. This red piece here is what allows it to plug onto the sides. Not necessarily for carrying, but rather for storage during its mobile armor transformation flight mode. You also get a shield. These can be set on either in or out, which reveals a set of probably machine cannons. Also with the same red piece that plugs it onto the wrist. It may be hard to see. We'll see if you can see it right here. There's that little tab that's going to line up with that socket. So it's very particular in which way that it goes in. But from there in, you can get a full spin on your shield. It's pretty interesting that that's a different way to plug it in, which applies. And I just noticed this after my Mark 1 review, is there's one on both sides. So that is part of the internal armor structure. You also get a second form of the beam rifle in a more sword-like form. But I'm going to hold these up for comparison because you can see that technically they would be the exact same weapon. This part would extend out, but I don't understand why this part is hollow and this part is not hollow. All very strange. What I do understand is why the trigger and the grip on the beam saber part are both slid back and round, because that makes for it to have a second set of grips. So you've got one grip here, one grip back here, and it stabilizes it for some pretty dynamic posing. You get two beam sabers in my favorite Lego green, and then I would say a good 25% of why I got this are for these effect parts here, what I am going to call beam saw blades. These plug directly into the wrist at this inch, if I could plug it the right side, into the cuff here. And while they do come straight, you can take them and bend them very gently and set them into a permanent position. That's why I have one bent and one undamaged. That way you get all kinds of different dynamic poses going on. By now the transformation should be complete. And with that, I believe this review is complete. It's got its transformation gimmick, which, even though it's a parts warmer, it's not so bad. You only remove the torso and the legs in which to do the move. And it still looks pretty good, and it looks kind of reasonable rather than weird. And which way did these arms fold in, and which way did these legs fold in, if you were to look at it from a real-life technical or even animation standpoint. The kit, I've still seen a few of these in circulation, so it ain't so bad. I wonder if... No, there's never a barcode on the manuals. That's silly. But that's going to be all for this review. This was one of the very first kits that I built in San Antonio's own Rick and Rick Otaku Cafe, their physical location. I met some really good people there, and it was a good time and a good experience meeting some people while building this girl right here. But that'll be all for today's review. I hope to see y'all next time in another episode of Zappa versus the Shelf. And as always, SIEG ZEON.